Ubisoft do what Ubisoft do best. Nintendo leaks everything, well, just everywhere, and Valve confirm the Steam Deck 2. Kind of. Welcome back to 128 KB News. This is your quick bit of gaming news where we catch up on the world of gaming in this short news-like video that's neither short nor news-like. But you're going to have to let me off because it was my birthday. Yeah, I'm sure your present's probably in the post or something. I don't know. It's not got here yet, but I'll expect it. Maybe you could just subscribe to the channel instead, and that will make me feel warm and fuzzy and validated inside it. But in the gaming world, and what was quite a quiet week in the gaming news, apart from Nintendo, which seems to have just left its doors open for everyone just to leak just about everything that ever existed. But more on that story later on because it's a crazy one and I've got to be careful what I do and don't say to make sure that those Nintendo copyright droids don't come after me. But let's launch off the first story of the week with Spider-Man 2. Yes, that PlayStation exclusive is no longer a PlayStation exclusive. It gets its PC launch date, and let's be honest, this is something that all of us can rejoice in. So PlayStation obviously going hard after the PC market as they drop yet another PlayStation exclusive on PC, and we now have the confirmed launch date for Spider-Man 2 on PC, which is coming to Epic Games and Steam on January the 30th. This is obviously a really exciting prospect and just more of PlayStation going after that PC market a little bit harder. This one's particularly interesting as it comes so close to its original launch date. This announcement comes just 1 year after Spider-Man 2 was launched as a PS5 exclusive, so it's going to be around 1 year and 3 months until we see it launched on PC and no longer be a PlayStation exclusive. But it does make a lot of sense, doesn't it? Because let's be honest, the PC players aren't console players, and the console players on the whole aren't PC players ever. So they don't really kind of interfere with each other's market. PlayStation aren't going to lose a huge amount of PlayStation sales by launching this game on PC. And as us people that get to straddle both worlds, PC and console, we now get to see Spider-Man 2 and all of the other PlayStation exclusives in their absolute glorious best. And that's actually where we lead on to the Spider-Man 2 story, because we will see an enhanced version of Spider-Man 2 coming with its PC launch. The PC port is going to feature enhanced graphic features like enhanced ray tracing and utilizing the full performance of some of those higher-end GPUs that we see in PCs. Quite excitingly as well, that this port has been done by Nixies yet again. They seem to do every PlayStation port onto PC there is, and they do an amazing job pretty much every time. We saw great work with the Horizon games, and of course, Ghost of Satsuma was an incredible feat of engineering and is utterly gorgeous on PC. So I am genuinely excited to see what Spider-Man 2 looks like on some of those higher end PCs, because it is going to be a thing to behold. But yeah, we don't have to wait long. January the 30th, it will launch on Epic Games and Steam Store. And of course, it is a really exciting thing to see, as I've said before. I just wonder now how much longer it's going to be until we see a dedicated PlayStation launcher for PC, and would that be something that you would use? Let me know down in the comments below. And moving on from exciting news to Ubisoft news, which can only be bad news, of course, because Ubisoft do what they do best and destroy good things. And this time, they've destroyed the team that is behind the most successful game that they've done in recent years. And when I say successful, I'm probably doing it a bit of a disservice because it wasn't necessarily the most commercially successful, but it was definitely one of the best games they've made in recent times. I am, of course, talking about Prince of Persia Lost Crown, the 2D Metroidvania, which, of course, was never going to sell huge volume. It is a 2D Metroidvania, but it wasn't a full price tag game. We were looking at a AA game. I think at launch it was around £50 or $50. You can probably pick it up now for around $30, maybe even less than some Steam sales or PlayStation sales. But because of its slightly underwhelming commercial performance, the big brains at Ubisoft, which do the big brain thinking, have decided to disband the team behind the game rather than giving them a chance to work on something else amazing. I mean, why would you want a great creative team who are working on a really good creative game the opportunity to work on something else that would be good and creative? No, that's not how Ubisoft do things, is it? No, we want to make things that are underwhelming and that are quadruple A price tags. The reports of this are coming out of France, and it's apparently in interview with someone in the team, so maybe we have to take a bit of a pinch of salt with this one, but it seems like it's quite a fleshed out story. The report of it is that the Ubisoft brains, the big brains, decided that they weren't going to continue with this team and this kind of idea of a 2D Prince of Persia again, pretty much within a week or two after the game launched, which seems insane. They apparently pleaded with the publishers to allow them to work on added content and perhaps even a sequel. And the feedback they got from Ubisoft was amazing, which was that a sequel would cannibalize the sales of the original game. I mean, what kind of take is that? I'm not sure. But what does seem baffling to me is that universally anyone who played this game could see that it was a masterpiece of a 2D Metroidvania. It was a phenomenal game, and it still is. If you've not played it yet, I do recommend you go and give it a go. It is a fantastic experience, and by a long way is the best experience that Ubisoft have made in recent time. So clearly the team behind it are a very talented bunch. There's something magical happening there within that creative team that seems kind of lacking if you look across the other Ubisoft developments that are happening right now. So from my perspective, if you remove the finances out of it, you would see that creative team and go, they could probably do something special if they're allowed to continue to run and maybe work on a sequel to the game, or maybe move them entirely as a whole team onto a new game entirely, but let them stay together. Let the success of the game itself give them some time to carry on. But sadly, that's not the case. And the big brains at Ubisoft that make the big, clever decisions, you know, the ones that are like 2 + 2 = 5, have managed to come up with an idea to disband the team and get them to work on other projects. And those other projects include the Rayman remaster that is coming out, also the Rayman remake that's coming out, and moving them across other projects, and probably some quadruple A games that are coming out soon as well. Who knows? Ubisoft just seem to get crazier by the minute. Okay, so from one insanity to the next, and I am, of course, talking about those endless Nintendo leaks that have happened from, well, pretty much everything. We saw the massive Pokemon and Game Freak data mining that happened. The Nintendo Switch Online playtest leaked like a sieve, as predicted, and even the Mario and Luigi Brothers ship game has leaked. The full ROM is available if you're willing to dig around. It seems that Nintendo are leakier than Pothole Pete. That is a weird, obscure 1980s Atari reference that probably no one will understand. I've got to be careful in not showing or talking about too much because obviously I'm terrified of the Nintendo copyright lawyers, and they will hunt me down with the Nintendo copyright Emmys faster than anything else. So I'm not going to show or say too much. I'll just probably put some random video over the top of this. Who knows what it'll be? Andy will decide and probably stitch me up. But we'll start off just talking about what happened. And with the Game Freak, the Pokemon leaks that happened, they had a massive leak and a huge data mine. If you're interested in seeing actually what came out, have a look at Centro Leaks on Twitter. They seem to be publishing everything without any fear of the Nintendo copyright Emmys chasing them down. But we saw everything from design documents, concept art, internal memos, and even information about canned developments. There was one thing there that kind of made me a bit sad that it seems to be a development that doesn't happen anymore, and that is a multiplayer Pokemon game that sounded amazing. Hopefully that is a project that isn't just completely canned, that is on the back burner, they put a pin in it, or maybe it will come in this Switch 2, who knows, but that did sound really exciting. Massive leaks from them there, so much information, and it continues to get drip fed out. So have a look at Centro Leaks on Twitter if you're at all interested. I'm not going to say anything here though. And then of course, really unshockingly, the Nintendo Switch Online playtest? I don't even know what that playtest is. Playtest, that leaked online too. We all knew that was going to happen with around 10,000 people signing up for this beta test. It was obviously going to leak, and I guess Nintendo were kind of accepting that was going to happen. There was no NDA signed by anyone, but surely if you're going to publish information, I think if you're going to publish pictures, or I know some of the game itself was data mined, that's obviously going to get shut down. But the information's out there about what this playtest is, and the initial rumours were going to be, was it perhaps GameCube games or maybe Wii games coming to Nintendo Switch Online, maybe as part of a cloud streaming test? Clearly not. It was actually an entire new game that they were testing, some kind of online MMO farming game. Who knows? It doesn't actually sound that bad. It sounds like it'd be quite interesting. When I spoke to Andy about it, he actually sounded quite excited, but then he's quite a big fan of MMOs and those kind of chill as you like farming games. He's there for some of the cozy vibes. Cozy all the time. That's cozy all the time. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. But it was really unshocking to see that it is leaked out. I don't know how I feel about this MMO farming game thing. I'd love to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Let me know. But that wasn't the end of the leaks. We also saw the Mario and Luigi Brothership full game ROM coming out there. So if you're willing to dig around, probably on Reddit somewhere, you can download the full ROM and play it on your PC or your hacked Nintendo Switch if you've got one of those. This also sat alongside, and it's not strictly a Nintendo game, I know, but the Sonic Cross Shadow Generations, the full ROM of that leaked out. Obviously, that actually comes out when I believe it's tomorrow, so that's not too shocking. But the Mario and Luigi Brothership is, because that doesn't come out for quite a while yet. Obviously, the internet is going to be full of spoilers about this game now, so if you don't want it spoiled for you and you don't want to see the leaks, I don't know, maybe just disconnect your internet. I'm not sure what you could do about it, but it's all out there. For me, I get it. Everyone wants to know everything as soon as possible. And heck, it gives me something to talk about. So selfishly, it's kind of interesting. But it also does ruin some of the magic for me a little bit when there's so much leaking goes on, especially when it's spoilers for games. That really does ruin the magic, because I'm one of those weird people that doesn't like to know what's going to happen until it happens. I don't know if I'm alone in that. Maybe you guys like to know well in advance. But the leaks of the games, it kind of ruins some of the magic. And also, I will say that with how hot Nintendo are at policing their IP at the moment, I'm looking at all of the emulators they've shut down and all of the leaked content that gets shut down real quickly. You've got to be really brave to be not just data mining this stuff, but publishing it online. I, for one, am not going anywhere near it. I will talk about it, but that's about the limit of it, because Nintendo scare the hell out of me. Okay, and last up is my clickbait of the week. I don't know if that's an official section of this video, but let's just say it is. Hey, I'm a small channel. I've got to get your attention somehow. But that is that Valve have kind of confirmed the existence of the Steam Deck 2 in the future. Yes, okay. So this came in an interview during the launch of the Steam Deck in Australia. I, for one, didn't realise that the Steam Deck hadn't launched in Australia yet. I just kind of assumed it was worldwide. So when I was first reading this, I had to double and triple check that I wasn't reading a really old article, or I'd kind of hit my head against a wall or something, and maybe I've got mass amnesia, or I've just travelled back in time. But apparently the Steam Deck isn't out in Australia yet because Valve doesn't have the distribution network and the ability to take returns of hardware in Australia yet, so they just waited until they were ready. And that kind of feeds into this whole ethos about this story, about waiting until they're ready and making sure they're doing best by their customers. I, for one, am all here for how Valve have approached the Steam Deck. I will say that me and Andy at launch were really dubious of it, because Valve had a real checkered history when it came to hardware, and it was quite clear that we were at least unsure about how well supported the Steam Deck platform would be going forward. Are they going to be dropping updates every 6 months? Is this thing going to be obsolete really soon? And we couldn't have been more wrong. It's absolutely not the case. And this story feeds into it. During the launch of the Steam Deck in Australia, Lawrence Yang had been interviewed. He's one of the lead designers of the Steam Deck, and was being asked about the Steam Deck 2. And of course, in the landscape of there being hundreds of PC handhelds being launched all the time, and people like Asus constantly doing incremental updates, Lenovo obviously the same, and a whole slew of others, they're being asked about when we're likely to see an update to the Steam Deck. Are we going to see this annual cadence of incremental upgrades, these little spec bumps? And absolutely not. Valve are there to absolutely protect their customers and make sure that your Steam Deck isn't obsolete until there's a good reason to update it. And at this point, it makes sense to absolutely just quote what Lawrence Yang said. So the Steam Deck itself is obviously really important to us, and we try to be really clear. We're not going to do the yearly cadence thing. We're not going to do a spec bump every year. There's no reason to do that. And honestly, from our perspective, that's kind of not really fair to your customers to come out with something so soon that's only incrementally better. So we really do want to wait for a generational leap in compute without sacrificing battery life before we ship the real second generation of the Steam Deck. But it is something that we're excited about and is something that we're working on. Now, this just really reconfirms what Valve themselves said maybe 6 months ago, or it might have even been closer to its launch, that they're not going to incrementally upgrade the Steam Deck. They're going to wait until there's a generational leap, a justified reason to do that. And from a consumer perspective, that is just awesome to see. It moves the Steam Deck firmly into the console territory of there being a larger generation, away from what we see in the PC landscape, which is these incremental yearly cadence of upgrades. And what that does is kind of continue the ethos of the Steam Deck in of itself, which was to introduce PC gaming to the console players and to the console market, to give us a gentle introduction into the Steam library and how PC gaming works and all of the advantages of it. That is what the Steam Deck's for, but they're doing it in a very consumer-friendly way and understanding that people are forking out multiple hundreds of pounds and dollars on these devices and will want to use them for more than just a year before they have to then trade it in and upgrade to the next version. It's fantastic to see this. What's even more exciting with this is for those Steam Deck players, when we do see the Steam Deck 2, which they've confirmed they are working on. That's exciting. But when we do see it, it's going to be a monumental upgrade when it happens. We're going to see a generational leap in performance and in processing performance and also in battery life. All of these things combined get me really excited for what the future is for the Steam Deck, but also for the Steam Deck right now. It just kind of reconfirms that it is an awesome introduction into PC gaming and such a welcome revolution to PC gaming in of itself. The Steam Deck is here to say, but we will see a Steam Deck 2 pretty soon. No, not pretty soon. Why did I say pretty soon? I just dropped that in there. Brain fart. Not pretty soon. We'll see it at some point, maybe. Anyway, I'm just rambling on now. I'm talking to myself into the corner of the room, and I've clearly gone insane. So help me out by going down below, leaving a comment about how insane I've got, liking the video, subscribing to the channel because, well, it was my birthday and you need to show me some love. I get that validation from you. And then before you go, watch another video from us here at 128KB. We're a lovely bunch and we love you being here. Perhaps this one, where me and Andy talk a little bit more sense in a longer version called a podcast. I don't know if you've heard of them before, but you should try them sometime. They're interesting. What am I doing anymore? So until the next time, I'll see you next time. Bye. It's working. I think I might be going mad, finally. Sat here in a room on my own.